Squad? Welcome back to the channel. Season 3 is here, which means it's time for an updated Modern Warfare 3 Search and Destroy classes and settings video. Before we get to the actual class setups, let's first go over the actual setup of the class. So for my SnD rush class setups, what I rock is an infantry vest, a stun or smoke secondary. I go back and forth between the two depending on the map and what rush route I am running. For those of you that aren't familiar with my rush routes, I do a series where I go over my rush routes for all the maps in Search and Destroy. We've done almost every single map in this game, and there's a playlist linked in the description that has all those videos if you'd like to check them out. But for my rush classes, I'm usually running a stun or a smoke depending on the map. Maps like Shoot House, for example, I'm normally running a smoke, whereas you play a map like Hotel, I'm usually running a stun. Now, lethal, I go with the frag grenade. I get asked a lot, Seek, why frag over Semtexes? Well, the Semtex is great and all, but it may be easier to use, but you can't really go for trick shots with it. Now, when it comes to the frag grenade and spawn nades on the maps, banking nades off of walls can save your life. Yes, the frag grenade does have the cook time, but at the end of the day, it is definitely, in my opinion, worth running a frag over a Semtex, despite how much more convenient a Semtex is to actually use. Now, field upgrade, I run dead silence. So this is probably the biggest comment I get on all of my SnD videos is why am I running double dead silence, since I'm running the dead silence field upgrade and of course the covert sneakers. Well, a lot of people don't realize this, but dead silence actually doubles as ghost in this game. So if you're not running the ghost perk, like myself, I typically don't. I run this dead silence field upgrade instead, so that when an enemy calls an UAV, I can pop my dead silence, which doesn't give me double silent footsteps. It just keeps me off the radar, so I can keep rushing and not have to worry about it. Now my perk setup, we're running quick grip, covert sneakers, and EOD patty. Now with season 3, the quick grip glove got tuned a little bit, and they are extremely fast now, so much faster than they used to. They actually remind me a lot of the fast hands perk from BO2, which was insanely fast back in the day. But the quick grip gloves are the go-to for rushing. You'd swap between that knife and that SMG. If you watch my videos, you know I love to get rid of my knife at some point in the round and pick up another weapon, a longer range weapon or a closer range weapon, depending on what I'm running. So having the quick grip to swap between the two weapons is really helpful throughout the round, so that's the main reason why I run it. Boots, as mentioned, we rock the covert sneakers. There's other good boot options, but in Search and Destroy, covert sneakers is the go-to. Now, there is an option in this game now where if you'd like to swap the infantry vest out for the ninja vest, you can do that, and then you can run running sneakers instead, so you have double time that way. But the only reason why I don't personally do that is because Ninja Vest takes away your gloves, which, as much as I like the idea of the Ninja Vest and being able to run a different set of boots in this game, I'm sorry, those quicker gloves are just too important for rushing. I can't get rid of them, so we rock the infantry vest and the covert sneakers instead of running sneakers ninja vest because of that. Finally, I rock my gear. There's lots of good gear options in this game. Ghost, for example, you've got tac mask, blah, 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 but EOD's the go-to. In SnD, there's lots of spawn nades that are thrown. There's lots of scenarios where you're dealing with riot shielders or various people that are going to have equipment that is going to annihilate you in the explosive department. So having EOD is really helpful for that one weirdo who 100% refuses not to put a claymore down in the staircase on Karachi. Moving on to the secondary and why it's a melee, for any of you guys that don't know, with rushing in SnD, speed is obviously very important, and the fastest way to move in the game is with your melee. Well, the new melee they added in, the Gladiator, or the butt plug, actually is pretty nice in the fact that it is the first melee weapon other than the karambit to actually move as fast as the karambit. If you notice when I go in between the stats, they are the exact same because these weapons have the same movement speed. So you can actually rush with the Gladiator and get the correct timings and actually be able to move very quickly, unlike with the gutter knife, which is slower than the karambit knife or any other option in the game. Every last one of them is slower than the karambit except for the Gladiator, which they added in. So if you're like me and want a little variety, throw on the Gladiators of your karambit to time around, switch it up. Moving on to my second class I have to show for you, we finally have a new vest in this game, and it's a quick fix vest, which is something we've been really wanting in this game. Now, how good is the quick fix vest? Well, unfortunately, you can't really rush with it because you don't have double time, which makes things difficult, and it takes away your field upgrade. So as a solo SnD player, not having dead silence as ghost kind of sucks. But there is kind of an exception to quick fix vest that does make me want to use it, which is why I've been using it since they've added it in on my sniper setup. The one setup that I don't need to rush with. I can just hold an angle, go for spawn snipes, etc. I don't need that double time for. So I've been rocking quick fix vest, aka compression carrier, on my sniper setup for that reason. As well as all my sniping classes, I like to run the marksman gloves if I'm running a secondary. Sometimes I like to go with the knife instead of the secondary and just plan on picking up a weapon. In those cases, I run the quick grip gloves so that if I pick up that weapon, I can swap really quick. But the pistol to sniper swap speed is pretty fast, so I don't really have any issues with it. So I've been running marksman gloves on the sniper because it reduces your sway and flinch while on ADS, which can be helpful when going for a long range shot in search and destroy with a sniper. Which I guess I forgot to mention this, but if any of you guys are unfamiliar with what Quick Fix does or the compression carrier vest does, if any of you guys that didn't play Modern Warfare 19, I guess, it allows you to heal after you get a kill. So every time you get a kill, it'll automatically heal you, which is why it's really helpful and really nice to have. It was really good in Modern Warfare 19 because you can add it with specialist kill streaks, giving yourself all the perks in the game, including Quick Fix, which Sledgehammer, please, if any of you are watching this video that work on Modern Warfare 3, I'm begging you, give us specialist kill streaks because the normal kill streaks kind of suck and I'd love to just have unlimited perks. Thank you. Okay, moving on to what you guys actually came to see. We have the actual class setup, starting things off with Godzilla, which, of course, this is the weapon that got the Godzilla blueprint, the MCW, the best AR in the game, which has actually received some nerfs with Season 3, and actually is hurt a little bit, but it is still the go-to assault rifle in this game. So, class setup, we've got the 60.5 Cyclone long barrel, we got the L4R flash hider, the DR6 hand stop, the Mark III reflector. Despite them adding so many new optics in this game, I still kind of find myself leaning towards the Mark III with almost every one of my classes, besides a couple exceptions. But the Mark III reflector is still my go-to, but feel free to swap it out for whichever optic you're comfortable with. There's obviously a lot of options in this game. We also have the RB Claw PSL grip to finish off the class. Next up, we got the GOAT SMG, which also has received some nerfs and has been hurt a little bit. It's still a very good gun, but it did in fact get nerfed with Season 3, which is pretty wild. I honestly never thought they would nerf the MCW or the Rival, but they did. We have the Rival Clear Shot Barrel, the Purifier Muzzle Brake, 40 round mag, Rival Vice Assault Grip, and the MTZ Marauder stock. Now that the sweat classes are out of the way, now to get into the underrated classes, the setups that you guys really have to try. I am telling y'all, there is some absolute phenomenal weapons in this game if you just give them a chance. And yes, they can keep up with the Rival and the MCW. One of those weapons being the HRM9, which got added in last season and is just a disgusting SMG that people refuse to use, and I don't understand why. The Warzone people have figured out it's amazing. Multiplayer people, try this weapon out. It is disgusting. The class that we have is the Princeps Long Barrel, Purifier Muzzle Brake, Bruin Heavy Support, PCS 90 Grip, and the Folding Stock. This weapon is by far my favorite SMG in the game, and I cannot advocate for you guys using it enough. Try this weapon out. It's a great mid to close range SMG. You can actually get assault rifle range out of it. It's got no recoil. It is just really good. I highly recommend trying it out. Next up, we have the weapon that's been slept on since the game came out due to everyone's love of the MCW. That's a Holger 556, which recently got an aftermarket part, which makes it a god gun. I would honestly argue that this Holger 556 with the aftermarket part shits on the MCW. I genuinely think it's better. It's very, very, very good. Class setup, we got the Jack Bapsol conversion kit, high grain ammo, the Mord 20 rear grip, the Holger 26 factory stock, and then the Mark III reflector or optic of your choice. Moving on to the sniper, we got the new sniper in the game, the Moors, straight out of Advanced Warfare. And this sniper took me a minute to kind of find a class setup I liked for it as a keyboard and mouse player. Shout out Humbus Thunder. He's actually the guy who gave me this one because I was not enjoying the sniper initially, but after I got the Hummus setup, I actually fell in love with it. So we appreciate Hummus around here. Thank you for the setup, homie. But I'm sharing it with you guys now too because this setup is fire, especially if you're a keyboard and mouse player like myself. For the sniper, we have got the Downfall Light Barrel, the Corio LAZ44 V3 Laser, the Icarus Light Stock, the Quick Bolt, shout out FaZe Jev, and then we've got the CNTR6 rear grip. My go-to secondary for the sniper class has been the Desert Eagle lately. Now, the Desert Eagle is not as good as the Renetti or some of these other pistols in this game, but it is definitely the most entertaining to use, in my opinion. Hitting headshots with the Deagle will never not be satisfying. Class setup I've been rocking is the Series 710 pistol laser, the armor-piercing rounds, the SA hair trigger, and the wood grain grip. Next up, we got the Striker 9, which has been slept on since it's got buffed, but it is still a very good weapon, and it's been seeing some love in ranked play since the Rival got nerfed with Season 3. Class setup we were rocking for, we got the Striker Elite Long Barrel, the L4 Flash Hider, the DR6 Hand Stop, the Mark III Reflector or optic of your choice, and the Sakin ZX Rear Grip. Another assault rifle into the mix, we have the BP-50, aka the F2000, a weapon I have been enjoying since they added it into Season 2. This is my class setup for it. We've got the Lore 9 heavy barrel, the DR6 hand stop, the 45 round mag, the TRST IV grip tape, and the 4-bearer heavy stock. Well, I was hoping I wouldn't sneak a shotgun into this list because shotguns are just toxic, but honestly, it couldn't be a best SND class setup video if I didn't include the Haymaker and its aftermarket part, because even after the nerf, this thing is tormenting search and destroy lobbies, and rightfully so, because it's really, really, really good. So for the sake of your sanity and mine, please consider only using this class if it is used against you first. But my Haymaker setup, we have the Jack Madlick Conversion Kit, the Molten Assault Grip, the No Stock Mod, the Imperator Long Barrel, and the Crown Breaker Choke. Finally, an MWIII weapon makes it into one of my best class setup videos. I am happy to announce with Season 3, they actually buffed every MWIII weapon in this game, getting rid of that weird visual recoil they always had in MWIII. They got rid of that with Modern Warfare 3 and then the Season 3 update, which is really nice. They've improved it. I would say they still aren't totally like no visual, like it's definitely obviously still recoil there, but it is definitely a lot more comfortable using these weapons now than before Season 3. And with that, we have the MP5, which a few weeks ago got a 71% damage buff and is still very, very, very good, and I've been using it quite a bit. So this is the class setup I have been rocking. I've made multiple videos on this gun since they buffed it. We got the Shadow Strike suppressor, the Bruin heavy support on a barrel, high grain rounds, the 40 round mag, and the Lockman TCG10 grip. The MP5 will never not be a satisfying SMG to use to me, so if you've not yet tried it in this game, give it a go, because it has only been improved and improved and improved in Modern Warfare 3 throughout the life cycle. Next up, we've got the Ram 9, which my class setup has changed up a little bit. Shout out my buddy Dysfunction. He actually put me on this setup, which gives it an absolute no recoil laser beam Ram 9 setup, almost making it feel like using a Ram 7 assault rifle with faster mobility and less of an SMG. This thing is really satisfying to use and is right up there with the rival if you're looking for something else to use. We got the Ram 9 with the Zeman 35 concept. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't, but like the compensated flash hider, you see what it is. We got the F-Tag MSP 98 hand stop, the 9mm high velocity, the Jack glasses optic, which this optic I recommend keeping on. You could swap up for another optic with minimal change, but the Jack glasses does help with the aiming stability and the lack of recoil this weapon has a little bit, so I'd recommend using the glasses. And then we ended off with the HVS 3.4 pad. Moving on to my settings. Now, I've said this in every single one of my settings videos. Settings are very much personal preference things besides the handful of things like field of view. Set that shit to 120. If you haven't already, do that. But most of the stuff is pretty preference. I don't believe there's one sensitivity that will save your life or whatever other people like to tell you. Run what's most comfortable to you, and these settings are what's most comfortable to me. So I'm going to share them with all of y'all. I'm just going to mute up, scroll through everything, including my controller settings, my keyboard and mouse settings, my graphics settings, my audio settings, anything that you might want to see, so you can just go through and pick out and take a look at exactly what you're wanting to compare your settings to. So for my keyboard and mouse people, by the way, I run 800 DPI and a Logitech G Pro super light mouse. All right, squad, those are my classes and settings from Modern Warfare 3 Season 3. I hope you enjoyed the video. Once again, leave a like for me if you could. I'd appreciate it. And with that being said, I will catch you all in the next one so you can destroy. It's been Zinger.